Hey, welcome to Gun Stuff. Today we're going to spend some time at the range with the Taurus TX-22. So we got a friend coming in to shoot with us, so let's get straight to work. All right, so here we are, the moment we've been waiting for. We're going to get our first shots with the Taurus TX-22. Nice. So this thing shoots great. Let's go down and take a look at our group real quick. So we're shooting at 5 yards right now. These are the very first rounds we shot out of it. So I'm shooting just a little bit low. Good group, but this is just a little bit of spread. There's me. So I'm not going to make any changes. I think I might go ahead and bring this up real quick and then just get a little sight in on this. So that way we got a little bit better baseline for what we're going to shoot today and when we're going to shoot out a little bit further. So that way I'm a little more accurate and I don't have to rely on any Kentucky winds or anything. So I'll be right back in just a second. All right, so here we are. We made a couple adjustments on the firearm and on the sight, and we're going to go ahead and take a couple accuracy shots with it. So right now we're at about 5-6 yards. All right. So I'd have to say that these couple right here in the middle, this is representative of my group. I left the sights a little bit low, so that just because of the height over bore offset. This one here, I totally felt jerked at because I didn't expect it to go off. So this thing has a really good trigger pull on it, so I didn't even expect this to go off. It totally surprised me in the middle of like resetting for my next shot. It went off, so that's always a great sign of a good trigger. So it's just me having to learn how to manipulate this trigger properly, getting time on the gun. But the fact that this is going off low like that, I really like that. So we're gonna go ahead and step back. We're gonna shoot like 25 yards and shoot some still, and we're gonna do a little speed shooting with it. All right, so here we are. We're gonna go ahead and shoot at the 25-yard still. It's starting to rain on us a little bit, and it's a little cold out here. We're in the middle of winter in Kentucky, so it's sleeting for a second, then it turns back to rain, and I think it's gonna start sleeting again here a little bit, but I'm gonna start shooting at the 25. Nice. All right, so this thing is shooting great. I did have one that kind of, it's just like a failure to eject. It didn't eject all the way out. But I am shooting bulk ammunition right now. We haven't started going through all of our different loads and all of the different brands of ammunition. But we'll get a little bit more in depth in that here in just a minute. But it just kind of stuck halfway out. So all I did is just a little immediate action, just hand come over the top, swept the cartridge, and it pulled it right out of there, and it picked up the next round and fired right away. All right, so we're going to start loading up some different rounds, and we'll tell you how it performs. All right, so now we're running Federal 36 grain hollow points. All right, ran well, no issues. All right, so now we're going to be running CCI 40 grain standard velocity. All right, no problems with that ammunition either. All right, so here we are. Now we're going to be shooting American Eagle 38 grain. All right, so on this, when I'm going through here, The safety is a little hard to actuate right here. So it's, you know, just, I don't know if it's new gun or whatever, but it just kind of, they got a real slick texture on here. And I'm assuming that's so it's not, you know, doesn't catch and rub on you too hard or something like that. Not real knurled up so it doesn't dig into your clothes or anything. But clicking it off and kicking it on is a little, is not the easiest thing, but it's right where it needs to be. So just want to let you know that it's a little hard to engage. All right, so now we're going to shoot Remington Golden Bullet 36 grain. Oh. Okay, so we've got this one nose dived into the cartridge right here. So you can see the tip of that bullet, as it nose dived in there, it deformed it. Okay, this, you know, you could still cycle that through and still shoot that if you're just out here plinking. But as you can see how it really smashed the front of it. All right, so I'm going to kick that round out of there and move on. Clear. All right, so we had one malfunction on that one. Now we're going to shoot we're starting into our subsonics. We're going to start off with Aguila 40 grain. All right. All right, we had one failure to eject on that and one failure to feed. And that was really probably me on not doing proper immediate action on that. So what I should have done is hit the magazine, rack the slide and everything. But all I did is I just swept the cartridge, and because it picked it up on the last one, so I just assumed it would do it again. It's a bad assumption on my part. But we had the one failure to eject. I'm not gonna discredit it with the one failure to feed because I didn't do proper immediate action. So we'll just write that up as a failure to eject just on that one. All right. So we're trying to cycle as many types of ammunition in here as we can. So we got the Wolf 40 grain match extra, and this is some of your lower cost ammunition, but we only got a couple rounds of it. So even though we only have, you know, 4 or 5 rounds of this left, we're still going to put it in here and cycle it through for you. All right, failure to eject, failure to eject. And failure to eject. All right, so the lower powered subsonics on these didn't eject properly. So we had 3 out of 5 on the Wolf. So it's not a great ratio, but we'll just keep pumping rounds through it. It's this good old Remington Subsonic. All right, so now we're going to run the Remington Subsonic 38 grain. All right, failure to eject, probably ought to, there you go. Now it felt like a light load. All right, another light one. Another failure to eject. All right. So we had a handful of them on there. And one of the, I'm really not too worried about that because it's one of the things that this is capable of being suppressed. So once you put the threaded insert on here and you run it suppressed, it's gonna have a little bit more back pressure. So that may be enough to help this thing cycle properly, and it may start to feed them a little bit better once the gun's a little more broke in. So we're just gonna go ahead and keep on shooting. All right, so now we got the pistol out here. We're gonna do some transition drills. I'm gonna be going back and forth between the 25 and 15, and I'm kind of shooting on an angle here, just so that way we can keep the camera out of the rain. All right. All right. So I got a couple extra rounds in my pocket. I got one magazine loaded with 2 rounds in it, so I'll be able to fire off 2-3 rounds. Should get slide lock and then do an emergency mag exchange, and then go through. And I'm going to do this drill a couple times. But like I said, we're going to keep the camera under here so that way we can keep it out of the little rainstorm that kind of popped up on us. But just be doing emergency mag reloads. So here we go. All right, so I'm changing my mags over, topping off with a couple rounds so I can redo the drill. So it's a lot funner on this when you can we can get out here when you can do this with somebody else, and somebody else loads your mags for you, so they can load you up at like 2, 3, 4 rounds, and you never know really when it's going to go dry. All right. All right, again, we'll be topping off. All right, so I'm out of bullets, so I'm gonna go ahead and top off my mags, grab a couple extra in my pocket, and we'll come out and do it some more. All right, so this time we're gonna do a couple different drills. Same thing, we're gonna do an emergency mag exchange, but I'm gonna shoot at a couple different targets as we go through here just to change it up. All right, go ahead and load and make ready. Back, safety on. Go ahead and throw a couple extra in my magazine. Do an administrative reload here. Take the full magazine out, stick it in my mag pouch. Put the downloaded one into the gun. All right, so one of the things I'm noticing is I'm not getting slide lock on the gun as I go up, and I'm not necessarily sure if that's just me and my grip, because I got a really high grip on the gun, or if it's just the gun not cycling back all the way. But I'm gonna go ahead and keep on running these drills. Administrative reload, change over my magazine to the downloaded one. All right. Ready. All right, it's kind of fighting with my mag a little bit on that one, and I missed it. My hands are starting to get wet, and like I was talking about earlier about the slick safety on here, it came up. My hands are getting wet from being out in the rain. The gun's getting wet. I came up to disengage the safety, and I couldn't get it on the first try, so I had to give it a second go. So I think that's it for this one. All right, so just like we always like to do here, we like to shoot these weapons, different ammunition, different situations, running different drills, stuff like that. But we also like to shoot them at different yardages, just to give people a general idea of what you can do with these firearms. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to engage. We've got about 45 yards, about 50. We got 100. We got 150. So I'm just going to take pot shots at all these different yardages and see what we get. All right. All right, that's 50. I think I could probably sit here and just bring that 50 all day long with this thing. That's a full size target. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and reach out to right around 100 and see what we get. Hit, miss, hit. All right, that one is about that's about a half size silhouette out there at 100. And then I think we got a full size at 150. So I'm going to go ahead and take a couple shots at 150 and see if we get the 150. All right, took me 3 shots, but I got it. All right, so the 150, we're hitting 150 in this training pistol, so that's pretty good accuracy for what I'm guessing. And it's also, I had to aim just a little bit to the left, but I'm gonna take a few more. All right, so I got about 3 of those out of the 4, I think. I think I shot 4 rounds. I'm not 100% sure. But accuracy on this thing's pretty good, going out 150 on a full-size silhouette. So we're just gonna keep shooting some more and we'll get back to you. All right, so here we are on another cold winter day. And just like we were talking about before, we have one of our friends coming in to join us. Sheree, would you mind stepping in here? This is Sheree. Sheree's a good friend of mine. We've been in small group together for quite a long time, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we've known each other through church and other different groups and volunteer organizations, things like that. But we were at group last night and we were talking about coming out and filming part of this episode and part of this review on this gun and what being a good training gun. And Sheree comes out and shoots with us all the time out here at Macy's Hollow, and we come out here on a regular basis at least once a month and we shoot and we train. And she's been known to bring everything from ARs to a 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum, right? So she was one of the first people to bring the 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum out to the range here, and I had a blast shooting that. That thing kicks like a mule, but so this is what we got. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna go ahead and turn around. We're gonna do a couple training drills, and what we want to get is we just see other people's perspective and just to get other people in here to shoot these guns, so it's not just Scott's opinion all the time. So what we've already got everything set up back here. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go ahead and run a couple drills here. And actually, I'm going to step off real quick and grab my timer because I forgot my timer. I'll be right back. All right, so we got my timer. We're back, and we're going to go ahead and run a couple drills here. Weather's getting even worse on us as we go. I guess it's going to pick up and get even a little bit more than what it is right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and run through a couple drills. Are you ready?
Sure.
All right, so go ahead and step up to the table. All right, go ahead, pick up the firearm. You're going to go ahead and grab a magazine. You're going to lock and load and make ready. And I want you to go ahead and remain at the low ready. So go ahead and lock it, rack it. All right. So using your grip like this, grabbing a hold. All right. On the sound of the buzzer, you're going to draw. You're going to engage 2 rounds on the left and 2 on the right. Are you ready? Be alert. All right, go ahead and remain at the low ready. Yeah. All right, we're going to do it again. Be alert. All right, back to the low ready. Okay, now we're going to reverse it. I want you to go ahead and go 2 to the right and 2 to the left. Shooter, understand?
Yes.
Be alert. All right, now what I want you to do is I'm going to have you go, we're going to speed up the transition a little bit. We're going to have you shoot 1 to the left and 1 to the right. Do you understand the course of fire?
Yes, sir.
All right, be alert. All right, somewhere here in the next couple of rounds, you're probably going to run out of bullets. So when you do, I want you to just go ahead and go for your reload. Got your extra magazine right there. All right. I want you to do the same, one left, one right. Be alert. All right, go for your reload. Go ahead and rack the slide.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now we're gonna go ahead and change it up. I want you to go one left, one right, and if you can, I want you to try and go ahead and hit one of those birds, all right? All right, be alert. Oh, just a little high, that's all right. All right, so what we wanna do now is we wanna go ahead and I want you to fire 3 rounds on the left target only, okay? So I want you to just go, I want you to, on this first couple, I just want you to go 1, 2, 3, nice rhythm, and then we'll do it again, and then on the next one, I want you to go just a little bit faster, okay?
Okay.
Just that way we speed you up just a little bit, all right?
Okay.
Shooter, understand the course of fire?
Yes.
Okay, so just for the first time, just 3 rounds only, and I want you to take your hand here, I want you to put it along the slide, just your thumb, all right?
Well, hold on.
Yep.
These are holding here then?
Yeah, just so that way your thumb's not behind the slide here, so
Okay.
that way you don't run the risk of the slide coming back and biting your hand.
Okay.
All right. Be alert. All right. Okay, so that was 5.5 seconds. So now this time, when it comes up, I just want you to come up and go 1, 2, 3, and I want you to count at the same time you shoot. And what that'll do is that'll just make it a normal, a normal rhythm. So you'll just 1, 2, 3. All right.
Count aloud?
Yeah, you don't have to count aloud, but just in
Okay.
your head.
Okay.
So what it'll do is it'll speed your finger up just a little bit. All right.
Okay.
Be alert. All right, so that's 3 and a quarter, somewhere around there. So pretty good. All right, so we're going to go ahead and set that down for a minute, and we're going to go ahead and we'll break into another drill here in just a second. All right. All right, so now we're going to run a couple other drills, and what we're going to do right now is we're going to do some emergency reload drills. So if you could go ahead and step up to the line right here, go ahead and pick up the firearm. Right now, it's loaded with 2 rounds in the magazine. So you're going to fire 2 rounds, and then you're going to have to go to emergency reload. Do you have your spare magazine ready to go? Okay. So on the sound of the beep, I'm going to want you to fire two rounds on the left target, and you're going to run out of rounds, and I want you to go to your emergency reload and then follow up with 2 more rounds. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. Be alert. All right, go ahead and remain at the low ready. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and, if you can eject the magazine, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset these, and we're going to set you back up to run the same drill again. So I'm going to go ahead and bend down, go ahead and point that over the direction a little bit. I'm going to pick up this magazine, and I'm going to top it off with 1 more round. You can go ahead and set that one back into your pocket where you're going to go for your reload. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 1 round to the magazine, and go ahead and insert that in the magazine. Now that's going to give you 2 rounds back in the magazine again. All right. All right, so that's going to give you 2 rounds back in the magazine again, all right?
Okay.
So we're going to run the same drill again. So 2 rounds, go to emergency reload, 2 more rounds. Do you understand the course of fire?
Yes, sir.
All right, be alert. All right, good job. All right, go ahead and download. Go ahead and rack the slide and let that round come out. All right, go ahead and set it down on the table. All right, all safe. All right, so getting out here and doing a bunch of these drills, you know, even though we're out in the nasty rain and everything, it's still a good time to get out here, figure out what works and what doesn't. We'd like to thank you for coming out.
No
And
problem.
when we might grab you up at the end of it there and just get your opinion of some of the stuff that you liked about the gun as you got to shoot it. So,
Okay.
All right, well, we'll get back to you in just a little bit. All right, so we had a great time out shooting the Taurus TX-22. So the Taurus TX-22 is Taurus's new addition to polymer striker-fired 22 pistol. So this is meant to be a great tool for training or just getting out and just plinking rounds. This comes in multiple configurations. You can get it everywhere from the different colors to different options on the gun itself, where you can have safety or non-safety, all the way up to a competition ready model. Starting off at the bottom, you have the magazines. Comes with two 16 round magazines, and these magazines are open, and they have the little knobs on the side there that you can take this and you can assist in loading. When you're shooting these, one of the things that we had talked about, one of the things we came across, especially on a day out here like today, when you're out shooting these and dropping these, if you're in a sandy environment, muddy environment, anything like that, one of the things you have to kind of be careful with on open magazines like this is that you can get mud and grit and things down inside of there. Once you get some of that stuff inside of there, what it can do is it can cause various types of malfunctions. So that's just one thing you want to keep an eye out for on these. But one of the things that they have in here is, as these rounds are in here, just like we showed you earlier, they kind of offset and they stack in there, and that allows them to get a much higher capacity on this. So moving up from here, this has a great texture grip on here. It's not real sticky, but it's just enough that you're going to get a good grip on it. But you don't have to have it really aggressive texturing on here, being that it's a 22. The texture on here is really good in the fact that it comes around. They have a little bit of a nub on here for your finger, but it has a really nice undercut that comes up under the trigger guard. And the trigger guard is a very gracious trigger guard, so you can get up in here with gloves, but they already have the undercut up in here, so that way as you get up on here, even if you got big hands, you can get a nice high grip up in there. And on the high grip side, one of the things that I really like about it is the fact that it has a nice deep beaver tail in here. So I'm one of the people that when I'm shooting a gun, I like to get a really high tight grip in there so that I can get as much hand on the gun as possible. But one of the things I always run into getting the slide bite on here. But what that does is that prevents me from getting the slide bite once I can get my hand up in it. And probably one of the greatest things that I like about this pistol that I'm getting to right now is the trigger. So what they've done in all striker fired pistols up till now have really had the trigger safety bar on the front here. So just like Glocks and a lot of the other ones, there's usually a little bar in here that you have to engage with your finger before the gun can go off, and so your trigger safety has to be engaged. Well, what they've done is they moved the trigger safety from inside to up top. So now the trigger safety is up into the action up here a little bit. Not really sure how they do it or what they've done to accomplish that, but basically what that does is it ensures that the trigger has to be depressed before the gun can go off. But what that does is that creates a better interface between you and the gun. So for a lot of people that like to shoot revolvers, high-power rifles, things like that, you're used to a solid trigger that comes down, and once you get in there and you feel that. So that's the reason a lot of us like to replace the triggers like on our Glocks and things, because we don't like with those trigger bars are just kind of a bit of a distraction on your trigger pull. So when you get those nicer, finer cut ones, when you depress that trigger bar, you don't feel it on your fingers much. But what this does is this gives you a nice solid grip on there. Again, I said the magazine well, the trigger well is nice and generous. You have the pick rail on the front for you to be able to add all your lights and lasers. One of the great things on this also that they've added on here is that has a takedown lever on here is a little bit better than a lot of the others. So it has a little ledge on it so that when you go to pull this down, it's a lot easier to grip and pull this down. Even when it's cold and wet and rainy out here like this, you can pull this thing back and it's real easy to actuate. As a matter of fact, I just accidentally did it. But this is a lot easier to actuate. So those of you who have taken down all your Glocks and your others, they usually just have a little pin right here. This has a very nice, generous surface area for you to get your finger on, so you can pull this thing back and you can then disassemble this gun for easy cleaning. When you do disassemble it, it only slides forward just a little bit and then it lifts up, so it doesn't slide all the way off the end of the gun. It just slides forward just a tad and then it raises up. One of the great things that we like about this also is the fact that this comes ready for a suppressor. So you can take this piece off the end here, you can take the thread protector off the end, and then it has an adapter that goes on here that you screw on. And then what that does is it brings it up to the 1/2x28 threads so that you can fit the standard suppressors on here. So anyone that's running 22 pistol like this for training, things like that, almost all of us want the aftermarket to have, or we want the guns to come out with a threaded barrel. This has the option for that. Another one of the things that we like about this is that it already comes with a lot of the stuff we want. We got the rear adjustable sights that are adjustable for windage and elevation, so you can adjust it to just about wherever you want. You've seen that we were able to take it out to 150 yards. If I spend a little bit more time spending on adjustments and things like that, probably could have hit more consistently. But still, taking a 22 pistol this size out to 150 yards is more than adequate. But using this as a training pistol, one of the things that you're really going to like is the fact that it has the front and rear serrations. So as I train, I always like to do my press checks and things like that, or immediate action things. I tend to go towards the front. Well, then I can continue to do this up here because it already has all the serrations. It doesn't get slick, especially in the environment we're in right now. And one of the other things that you'll really like about this is that if you do decide to suppress this and you have this on here, it doesn't eject out of the top. So what it does is it ejects out the side. So as these rounds eject out the side, what it prevents is it prevents a lot of that gas as you're shooting. It prevents a lot of that gas from the blowback from the suppressor from blowing right back into your face because it diverts it out. With the side ejection port, though, with it coming out the side ejection port, as you can see in some of the videos when we had some of the malfunctions and things like that, it may make it a little bit more difficult to clear some jams. You may have to go into secondary and remove the mag and lock slide to the rear to clear some jams. But for the most part, having the side ejecting port is a plus, and I really like it. But overall, this is a great pistol. And speaking of training, we got a chance to get out here and do quite a bit of training with it, and we invited our friend Sheree out. Sheree, would you mind stepping up here? So overall, we got to shoot this quite a bit. I know that we chopped the videos down at the end, and you only get to see just a little bit, but just what were your impressions of this? Did you?
I did like how you just said, like how the slide, how quickly and easily it does slide. It's very smooth, and the faster trigger pull compared to the guns that I've shot prior to that.
Yeah.
I feel like it had a much faster, easier trigger pull.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite things about this gun is the solid trigger. But we hope you like it too, and we'll see you next time on Gun Stuff.